Can you hear me clearly, Rukmini? Yes?
नाम संकीर्तन यज्ञ की श्री राधा गोपीनाथ की गिरिराज महाराज की Srila Prabhupada ki Jai Gaura Premanande. So with your kind permission, wanted to sing a bhajan Radha Krishna Pranamura. Is that okay? So please take your phones if you have phones. So how will we sing the bhajan? Oh, so no phones. Just sing, Madhav Prabhu says, just sing with your heart. जीवने मरने गाती हार नाही मोरा जीवने मरने Ah Ratana Bedira Upa Boshabo Dwijana Ratana Bedira Upa Boshabo Dwijana Ratana Bedira Upa Boshabo Dwijana Ratana Bedira Boshabo Dwijana Radha Krishna Pranamoda Jugala Kishora Radha
Hare Krishna, dear devotees, please accept our humble obeisances. All grace to Srila Prabhupada. Thank you so much for joining this morning. We really apologize for the delay. Seems like there is some miscommunication that happened with, with the speakers. So it's okay. We all together will read today's verse and try to understand. It's a beautiful verse. And hopefully we all can, by mercy of Srila Prabhupada and by mercy of all of you, we can take away some good insights into these verses, 2 verses today. So just give me 1 second. Am I audible, Prabhu? Is that okay?
Yes, Prabhuji, we hear you clearly. I was on mute, sorry.
Okay.
Hey, we have Parikshit Prabhu also here.
Oh, Parikshit Prabhu is there? Wonderful, wonderful. Let me check with Parikshit Prabhu. Hare Krishna Prabhu, Parikshit Prabhu.
Hare Krishna, Jai, accept humble obeisances, all glory to Srila Prabhupada.
You
Yes,
came
Srila
at our
Prabhupada.
rescue at the right time, Prabhu. You are a rescuer.
Hare Krishna, Jai.
Thank you, Prabhu. You're good to Prabhu. You're good to take over this session.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Hare Krishna.
Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Gopi Janavallabha Girivadadari Jaya Gopi Janavallabha Girivadadari Yashodanandana Radhajanaranjana Yashodanandana Radhajanaranjana Jamuna Tira Vanachari Jamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Gopi Janavallabha Girivadadari Jaya Gopi Janavallabha Girivadadari Yashodanandana Vrajajanaranjana Yashodanandana Vrajajanaranjana Jamunatira Vanachari Jamuna Tira Vanachari Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Jaya Radha Sharad Bihari Radha Sharad Bihari Ji Radhe Jaya Radha Damodara Damodara Ji Radhe Jaya Jagannath Jaya Jagannath Jaya Baladeva Jaya Subhadra Jaya Gauranita Jaya Gauranita Jaya Gauranita Jaya Gauranita Jaya Prabhupada 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 Srila Prabhupada Gurudev 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 Jaya Jaya Gurudev Vithai Gora Haribo 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 Nithai Gora Haribo Jai Om Vishnupad Paramhansa Prevajikacharya Stotra Tatasishi Maharaj Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai Jai Om Vishnupad Paramhansa Prevajikacharya Stotra Tatasishi Maharaj Divine Grace Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur Maharaj Prabhupada Ki Jai Ananda Koti Vaishnavinda Ki Jai Ramacharya Srila Haridas Thakur Ki Jai Prem se kaho Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Srivas Hari Gaur Bhaktavinda Ki Jai Shri Shri Radha Krishna Gopa Gopinath Shyam Kund Radha Kund Giri Gopalan Ki Jai Vrindavan Dham Ki Jai Mathura Dham Ki Jai Navadvip Dham Ki Jai Jagannath Puri Dham Ki Jai Jagannath Swami Ki Jai Ganga Mai Ki Jai Jamuna Mai Ki Jai Tulsi Devi Ki Jai Bhakti Devi Ki Jai Hare Krishna Mahamantra Ki Jai Samaveta Bhaktavinda Ki Jai Nitai Gaura Premanande Hari Hari Bo all glories to the assembled devotees Hare Krishna all glories to the assembled devotees Hare Krishna all glories to the assembled devotees Hare Krishna all glories to the lotus feet of Shri Guru and Gauranga Shri Prabhupada Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Preshaya Bhutini Srimati Vatsakini Swami Navani Namaste Krishna Padaya Prabhupada Siddharmani Shri Gaurakrishna Shakti Vatsakini Navani Narayana Namaskricha Naruncheva Narottamam Devim Saraswati Vyasam Tatujayam Mudirayat Nastaprayesu Abhadresu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhavatahu Tamaskurti Bhaktir Bhavati Naistiki Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Hare Krishna. One of the devotees, except on the basis is glory to Srila Prabhupada. So the text today is from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 1, Chapter 14, the disappearance of Lord Krishna, text 35 and 36. Mangalaya Chalokanam Shemaya Cha Pubaya Cha Aste Yadu Kulambuja Adyo Nanta Sakapuman Yadbahudanda Gupta Yam Swapuryam Yadavod Tita Vedanti Paramandanam Paramanandam Mahaporosika Iva Mangalaya Chalukanam Semaya Chavavaya Cha Aste yadu kulamboda, adyo nata sakapuman, yat bahudanda guptayam, swapuryam yadavorchita, Vedanti Paramanandam, Mahapura Shika Iva, Mangalaya Chalokanam, Shemaya Chababaya Cha, Aste Yadukulam Boda, Adyo Nanta Sakapuman, Yad Bahudanda Guptayam, Swapuryam Yadavochita, Vedanti Paramanandam, Mahapaurushika Iva. Hare Krishna. So word for word translation, Mangalaya for all good, Cha also, Lokanam of all the planets, Shemaya for protection, Cha and Bhavaya for elevation, Cha also, Aste is there, Yadu Kula Amboda in the ocean of the Yadu dynasty, Adya, the original, Ananta Saka, in the company of Ananta Balara, Puman, the supreme enjoyer, Yat, whose, Bahu Danda Guptayam, being protected by his arms, Swapuriyam, in his own city, Yadava, the members of the Yadu family, Achita, as they deserve, Vedanti, are relishing, Parama Anandam, transcendental pleasure, Mahapurusika, the residents of the spiritual sky, Eva, like. Translation by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Jai Srila Prabhupada. The original personality of Godhead, the enjoyer, and Balaram, the primeval Lord Ananta, are staying in the ocean of the Yadu dynasty for the welfare, protection, and general progress of the entire universe. And the members of the Yadu dynasty, being protected by the arms of the Lord, are enjoying life like the residents of the spiritual sky. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. As we have discussed many times, the personality of Godhead, Vishnu, resides within each and every universe in two capacities, namely as the Garbhodakshaya Vishnu and the Kshirodakshaya Vishnu. The Kshirodakshaya Vishnu has his own planet in the northern top of the universe. And there is a great ocean of milk where the Lord resides on the bed of the Ananta incarnation of Baladev. Thus, Maharaj Yudhishthira has compared the Yadu dynasty to the ocean of milk and Sri Balaram to the Ananta where Lord Krishna resides. He has compared the citizens of Dwarka to the liberated inhabitants of the Vaikuntha Lokas, beyond the material sky, further than we can see with our eyes, and beyond the sevenfold coverings of the universe. There is a causal ocean in which all the universes are floating like footballs. And beyond the causal ocean, there is an unlimited span of spiritual sky, generally known as the effulgence of Brahman. Within this effulgence, there are innumerable spiritual planets, and they are known as the Vaikuntha planets. Each and every Vaikuntha planet is many, many times bigger than the biggest universe within the material world. And each of them and in each of them, there are innumerable inhabitants who look exactly like Lord Vishnu. These inhabitants are known as the Mahapurushikas, or persons directly engaged in the service of the Lord. They are happy in those planets and are without any kind of misery. And they live perpetually in full youthfulness, enjoying life in full bliss and knowledge without fear of birth, death, old age, and disease, and without the influence of Kala, eternal time. Maharaj Yudhishthira has compared the inhabitants of Dwarka to the Mahapurushikas of the Vaikuntha Loka because they are so happy with the Lord. In the Bhagavad Gita, there are many references to the Vaikuntha Lokas, and they are mentioned there as Madhama, or the kingdom of the Lord. Oma Gyanat Vidandasya Gyana Gyana Shalakaya Chaksho Ummalitam Jena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manovistam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Vayam Rupa Kadamayam Dati Swapadantika Nama Om Vishnu Paraya Krishna Peshtaya Bhutale Srimati Bhaktivedanta Swami Tinaki Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pacharine Nirveshesha Sunyavadi Paschatyadi Sacharine Namo Mahavadanyaya Krishna Prema Padayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namni Gurachite Maha Ananda Dilamaya Vigrahaya Himabhya Divacha Vishnuraya Tasmi Mahaprema Raspadaya Chaitanya Chandraya Namo Namaste Chaitanya Chandraya Namo Namaste Chaitanya Chandraya Namo Namaste Chaitanya Chandraya Namo Namaste Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhara Sivasadi Gaura Bhaktavrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Ram Ram Hare Hare. And so the English translation: the original personality of Godhead, the enjoyer, and Balaram, the primeval Lord Ananta, are staying in the ocean of the Yadu dynasty for the welfare, protection, and general progress of the entire universe. And the members of the Yadu dynasty, being protected by the arms of the Lord, are enjoying life like the residents of the spiritual sky. Hare Krishna. So Maharaj Yudhishthira is giving an account of a general wonderful situation about the residents of the Yadu dynasty living in Dwarka. The original personality of Godhead, the enjoyer, Sri Krishna, and Balaram, the primeval Lord Ananta. They are staying with the Yadu dynasty for the welfare, protection, and the general progress of the entire universe. Wherever Krishna is, the universe benefits tremendously from it. And so in one sense, this universe is quite blessed. The Lord is here. The Lord performs pastimes in this universe. The personality of Godhead is very, very, very loving and very kind. And he is also the Supreme. So imagine having the Supreme as the king in your country. What can go wrong? He is most attractive in all levels. At all levels. So he is the source of wealth. Therefore, those in Dwarka did not have to worry about their needs being met, material or spiritual. They were very much attracted to the Supreme Personality of Godhead because he's even the physical, not physical, but his body is spiritual. His body is so very attractive. But when he was gone to Kurukshetra for the war that took place, Krishna's arrangement, they were missing him very much in Dwarka. And when he came to the outskirts of Dwarka and he blew his Panchajanya conch shell, they all went crazy. They didn't even wait for him to come in. They went outside to meet him. This is how attracted they are to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. These events teach us a lesson, the lesson that we also have to be very much attracted to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, because that's where our happiness is. The first expansion of the Lord, the plenary expansion of Krishna, is Balaram. And Balaram expands in many, many ways the whole spiritual world that's been described by Srila Prabhupada in the purport is the expansion of Balaram. And when the Lord is Lord Vishnu, well, that actually just goes through this. So Krishna, first expansion is Balaram. Balaram then expands to the four forms: Vasudeva, Aniruddha, Sankarshan, and Pradyumna. And they expand to the Lord of Vaikuntha, Narayan. And from Narayan expands the second set of Vasudeva, Aniruddha, Sankarshan, and Pradyumna. And from the Sankarshan of this second set come Mahavishnu. And so we talked about Kshirodakshaya Vishnu, Garbhodakshaya Vishnu. So Mahavishnu is the one from whose pores the Mahatattva, the unmanifested, now manifest into different universes. And they come from the pores of the Lord as Karunadakshaya Vishnu or Mahavishnu. So if we look at the purport, the Mahavishnu now expands to Garbhodakshaya Vishnu. Garbhodakshaya Vishnu is within each and every universe. So, Srila Prabhupada says in the purport, we've discussed many times, the personality of Godhead resides within each and every universe in two capacities, namely as the Garbhodakshaya Vishnu. So, Garbhodakshaya Vishnu is the one for each universe, and it's also through him that Lord Brahma is born. He's born from the navel, a lotus flower that sprouts from the navel of Garbhodakshaya Vishnu. So each universe has a Garbhodakshaya Vishnu. Garbhodakshaya Vishnu is also the one who teaches Lord Brahma how to create the varieties of each universe. Each universe has a Lord Brahma and a Garbhodakshaya Vishnu. And the Garbhodakshaya Vishnu is the one that would direct Lord Brahma in the affairs of creation. And then later on, Lord Brahma is also the deity for the mode of passion. There are three modes of material nature: goodness, passion, and ignorance. And as you can tell, the earth is quite, and a lot of people are living in a passionate way, trying hard to make money. Right now, it was my first experience in India, especially in Mayapur, and I'm sitting behind, not far away from me. Now I'm on the third floor of this building, apartment complex, and there is activity. I mean, it's really, really a lot of activity compared to where I used to stay. So quiet. The horns are going, the people are talking. There's a lot of things that's going on. And if I could just keep some experience, in the middle of the night, sometimes the dogs are barking and then they go away. And then early in the morning, you do not need a clock to wake up for Mangalarti if you want to go to Mangalarti. Because at 4 o'clock in the morning, some of the trucks, and they already are on the road and they're blasting their horns. And so I was like, okay, so, you just wake up. You just wake up. And so it's very interesting, very vibrant mode of passion. There's people trying to make money because there's a lot of people, so you have to hustle for your business to get money like this. But we'll talk about that later on. And then, Dwarka is we also has a lot of people, but it's different in this case. So I know I've gone off a tangent a little bit, but anyway, so Garbhodakshaya Vishnu is the one that teaches Lord Brahma to have the different varieties in the universe. That is the planets and also the different sons and daughters who also are commanded by him to go on creating more. So the sages, they all come from Lord Brahma, and the universe is filled up that way, the different planets. We also have 3 levels. We have the higher planets, or we call the heavenly planets, the medium planets, or the earthly type planets, and the hellish planets. So all are in each universe. Now, then the Garbhodakshaya Vishnu expands to Kshirodakshaya Vishnu. Kshirodakshaya Vishnu is present in every living entity. Kshirodakshaya Vishnu is the one we call the super soul. We are actually not these physical bodies, not even this mental part, like the mind and so on. Mind, intelligence, ego, pride. But we are spirit souls who reside in these bodies that we have. And of course, the body is the best type in terms of being able to escape and go back home. Is the type that is called the human type body. A very, very, very few percentage-wise of human bodies compared to non-human. Only less than 5% of the bodies, the different types of bodies that are there, are human. 95% plus, just over 95% are non-human. So that is the type of bodies that we're having now. That's why we can understand, or we can listen to lectures about the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And it's very, very important that we do that, because this is how we get out of this place that we struggle so much to live in, to go back to Godhead. The Srila Prabhupada says that on the northern top of the universe, the great ocean of milk is there. The Lord resides on the bed of the Ananta incarnation. Ananta incarnation is like a snake. No, it's not a snake. It is a snake. Several hooded, beautiful, jeweled snake, and the body is where the Lord is lying. Now, the comparison is made by Maharaj Yudhishthira, the Yadu dynasty, to the ocean of milk, where the Lord is lying. Sri Balaram to the Ananta, where Krishna resides, and the citizens of Dwarka compared to the liberated inhabitants of the Vaikuntha Lokas. And that was a wonderful and intelligent comparison, because after all, the plan of the Lord was to get the residents of the Yadu dynasty to finally go back home anyway, as it is the plan of Srila Prabhupada to get us also to go back home. And so when we are living this life, this is not the real life. This is just a material type lifestyle that people live here. And they're struggling to try to make ends meet. Some people, because of good karma, are not struggling as much, but everybody was going to have to have a way to go on living. That's the way it is in the material world. But in the spiritual world, there is not that struggle to live. The spiritual world, Krishna provides everything. Now, if you think about it, that's the way it should be. After all, when we talk about God, and we talk about how loving he is, how much power, he's the source of power, he is a source of knowledge, he's a source of love, and he's a source of strength, and he has all of these qualities, and he's a very loving Supreme Personality of Godhead. Why would not he create a place that is very, very much representative of his nature? When you think about it, the Lord is so kind that the place where we are supposed to be forever, our home, should be a place where he would make sure that we're having a good time the whole time. Yes, we are serving him, and we should be serving him after all, because he's a controller. If he's master, then everybody else is servant. And that's the way it should be. But we are in this place in the material world, struggling to try to control things here. It's called lording it over material nature, struggling. And the life that we're living is the life that we are trying to counteract the different things that we face, the challenges that we face. We call it development. But when we come up, or when other people, scientists, you call them whatever, ingenious people come up with some other way in which something that's already existing can be improved. I mean, I can think of cell phones right away, immediately. One program, another program, and making it more efficient. What are we really doing? We're trying to make life a little easier for us to live. But in the spiritual world, there's no question of having to make life easier. It's already like that. And so we are trying to live in a situation where we're not really going to be happy because of the struggle we have to go through just to make ends meet. So the whole process of Krishna consciousness is to open our eyes to the reality of the mistake that we've made coming to the material world. The whole process of Krishna consciousness is to have us understand that no, we're not having a great time. We're just trying to counteract the challenges that the material nature gives to us. When we get up and go to work, yes, we have to do that. Some people, many people don't like to go to work. If they had it their way and they could live without having to go to work, they wouldn't. Why? Because it's just the nature of a person to take it easy. But it's not like that here. You have to work. Why? Because you have to make enough money to be able to support yourself, to pay bills, and so on. Compared to the spiritual world, you have everything provided. As a matter of fact, things that you desire, the kalpa vriksha trees, the desire trees will give you just by desiring and going to get it. And so life is a whole lot easier and anxiety-free because you don't have to struggle to get anything. And this is where we left, by being envious of Krishna and coming and being put in this situation in the material world. So the other day in the video, Srila Prabhupada had arrived. He had traveled and he come in and he was going to give a lecture, and there was a reporter who asked him a question about how people wound up in this place. So if God is kind, how do people come here and have to struggle? Srila Prabhupada says, when you forced Krishna's hand, you forced Krishna's hand. First time I heard that in that video, I was surprised. But then after thinking about it, it made all the sense in the world to me. Because if Krishna is kind and loving to his servant, and the servant is trying to get to Krishna's position, want to be like Krishna rather than serve Krishna, and Krishna would just warn, because out of love, he will warn you and tell you, this is not the right thing to do, and the consequences may be something you won't like. But we wanted still to be the controllers. So then Krishna says, all right, so then you go to this place, the material world, and try to be the controller there. But when we come to the material world, what have we lost? We have lost our freedom. We think we're going to be free to do things, but we find out we have to work very hard. We think that things are going to come under our control, therefore we'll be happy controlling things. But then we find out that material nature is controlling us instead. One example is the situation with the weather. If the weather is nice, fine. The weather is bad, we have no say in it. Weather is cold, we have no say. It's too hot, we have no say. So if we wanted to come to the material world to actually control things, so how come we are controlled by so many other things, especially the weather? That's an example I just gave. So where's the real happiness? We are born into these physical bodies, and these physical bodies are to be cared for. And if you don't care for them, you're going to be starving. If you don't put a roof over your head, you will be in trouble. Your body won't deal with it. So this is what we've accepted as life. But actually, it's actually, Papa put it, a hard struggle to just exist. And so this Krishna consciousness movement is set up through the mercy of Lord Chaitanya in order that we might go back to where we left, because we will not be happy in this place. The Yadu dynasty is with Krishna, and they are with him as his king, and therefore they are just enjoying the connection, just like the Vaikuntha Loka or the spiritual world residents connect with Lord Vishnu or Narayan. So we have a great opportunity to also be in that situation. And the process has been made so simple. Chant Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. It is the most important thing to do of all the spiritual activities, the chanting of the holy name. Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was asked this question in Madhya Lila, Chaitanya Charitamrita, and he immediately answered. Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya asked him, what's the most important thing to do? He said, you have to chant the holy name. So if you're not chanting the holy name, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, God himself, that came to teach people how to be Krishna conscious. Krishna said about being Krishna conscious in Bhagavad Gita. Lord Chaitanya came to teach people by his own example. And he's chanting Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. So that should be the cornerstone of our lives. It is the way to go back to the spiritual world. It is the way to take all of these difficulties that we're trying to deal with, to counteract the challenges that the material energy gives us. So those of us that know about the Hare Krishna mantra and know about Srila Prabhupada are most fortunate. And Srila Prabhupada, I won't have him to say anything about it, but just simply quote Srila Prabhupada. He says, one should take advantage of the situation we have now. He has brought the chanting down, japa down from 64 rounds to 16 rounds. A big break. When you go 16 rounds, it's just 1/4 of 64 rounds. Like if you took an exam, and in the exam, you're told that if you get 25%, you pass. 25%, you pass. How many exams are there that 25% is a passing grade? But Srila Prabhupada has made that possible for us, that with just 25% of the japa required, the chanting required in order to go back to Godhead, if you did that, then his own mercy, the Guru's mercy, would now make it possible for us to go back. One more thing we have to be careful of is how we relate to each other. Because there is so much happiness, harmony, and enjoyment in the spiritual world, to go to the spiritual world means to develop that type of attitude here in the material world. So it's like practice. The lifestyle that we lead here, we should actually be careful to relate well to devotees all of the time. We should be careful to relate to non-devotees also all of the time. Be tolerant, because some people are going through all kinds, they are in the modes, mode of passion, mode of ignorance. Sometimes they do things that's horrible because they are unhappy and they are confused. But if we want to go back to the spiritual world, we have to start living life like the residents of the spiritual world now, here. And therefore, when people offend you, don't take them so seriously, but you shouldn't offend others. Amanina manadena. Lord Chaitanya said, Tinada Pishnina, Tarori Pasaishina, Amanina manadena, Ketanina Sarari. To chant the holy name of the Lord constantly. One has to be tolerant, one has to be humble, one has to give respect to others, but not look for respect, because that's exactly the opposite of humility, to look for honor. Or just be in a situation where how come they don't realize what I'm doing or how much I'm contributing? No. Be in a situation where, first of all, understand whatever contribution you make, the Lord is in the heart. He never misses anything. Or spiritual contribution, material contribution, he doesn't miss anything. So you don't have to have that kind of acknowledgement from any other source. Of course, the spiritual contributions are more important, because that's the ones that get us out of this material world, to go back to the spiritual world and be as happy can be. So we have a great opportunity, and Maharaj Yudhishthira is comparing the happiness that the Yadu dynasty is getting with Krishna as their head, with Balaram as the protector. And we have the same situation if we would just be eager enough to engage in the service of the Lord and be non-offensive to others. Once a person becomes offensive, then it's assumed that if you go back to the spiritual world, if they allowed you back to the spiritual world, you're going to be offensive there too. So that's why it's important to be more tolerant than even, committing offenses. You will not be allowed back in the spiritual world. So this is a wonderful opportunity we all have every day to take advantage of this process of Krishna consciousness, and we will get an opportunity to go back to the spiritual world. It's only a matter of time. Krishna wants us back more than we want to go. And so if we take this process seriously, he will in fact give us, by the mercy of Guru Srila Prabhupada, give us the opportunity to be back in our home and to be very, very, very free of anxiety and actually serving wonderfully with the residents that are there. Hare Krishna. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
Thank you so much, Prabhuji, coming on
Krishna's
last
mercy.
minute and enlightening us. We really appreciate your time. And even though you are on the vacation, you made us available for us. And
I'd love to serve anytime. Hare Krishna.
Thank you so much, Prabhu. Yeah. So yeah, it was wonderful. Shloka is comparing Prabhupada, Dwarika and the opulences of Dwarika Loka, the Lord, the way he's living in Dwarika is like equal to Vaikuntha Loka, and how Lord expands in the Garbhodakshay Vishnu and Sirodakshay Vishnu. So wonderful. Thank you so much, Prabhu. Devotees, does anyone have any question, comments, any takeaway? Please share. Can unmute and share or chat. Type in the chat.
Hare Krishna. You can also ask about some of our experiences that we've had from the travel too, because after all, we're family.
Yes, bro. While we'll see if anybody has any comment or question. Would like to share any experiences you have in Dham, Prabhu, Mayapur Dham?
Mayapur Dham is very vibrant. Very, very, very vibrant. There's a lot of pilgrims coming, yet true enough, the project is not over. Many of the work for the project you can see is completed. But a few buildings you would see that the construction grid, around the side, the metal things, you see that it's still there. That gives you indication. Some of them even there's an estimate of the time. There's a thing announced, they put a little sign in the front that this particular thing will be completed between such and such time. Just basically, they're planning to go from one building to another to finish what has not been finished. I got the opportunity of going to the temple to see Radha Madhava, the 8 gopis, and also right next to, in the next room, temple, it's constructed that way, the Panchatattva, full-size Panchatattva. I've seen pictures of them forever, but now to see them for real, it was very nice. There's a lot of pilgrims, we call them pilgrims, a lot of visitors that come to the Dham now. And that was the purpose. That was the purpose. First, the devotees say, well, there's so many people here who are non-devotees. But the idea is to attract, the whole Temple of Vedic Planetarium is to attract people to come to see Krishna, to get a sense of, how wonderful and how vibrant and this whole project is. Many of those pilgrims who go, everybody was just we saw yesterday. Everybody had, was Sunday we saw, and seeing myself. We saw the most perfect tilak in people's faces. And we was wondering what was going on. At first, we thought they were devotees. But no, they're not, because they're not wearing country malas. They're not. So what's happening is they come to the temple, and there's the devotees. They take the dye, the construction of they dip it they dip it and then they put it in their face. They have to, all of these, it's nice to see all of them, a whole bunch of folks coming, and each one of them has tilak in their face, right?
Wonderful.
Yeah.
Very
So
nice,
they
nice.
just,
I see the comment from Dhir Krishna Prabhu. Thank you for the beautiful class. Thank you for giving the glimpse of the Golok, Vrindavan, Mayapur Dham. Srila Prabhupada's purports are the windows, sights of spiritual world.
Absolutely. Krishna's mercy, Guru's mercy, this class came out because it's, unexpected, but still, Krishna consciousness is always there. If you open your hearts, then Krishna and Guru would actually guide you through the class. So I wasn't worried about that part at all. But there are so many restaurants, and you see the great thing about it is the devotees running restaurants. So unlike restaurants in different places in the different cities, this is, once you have the food stuff from there, it's already offered. So basically, you just say your prasadam prayer, and here you are. You have prasadam, and there are places of Mahaprasadam too. Srila Prabhupada, let me make one more thing. Srila Prabhupada's Samadhi, big, very, very big. And they set it up so that you can actually have functions in there. So a good many of the GBCs are here to this time. They're going to have meetings. And so they are also congregating there, and they're having even some of the programs there. So it's like a Mangalati going on in the main temple, and Mangalati going on in the Prabhupada Samadhi. And people sit down and chant. And so the atmosphere is wonderful, and it's also bustling quite a bit. And some devotees were saying, well, there's a whole lot of people that are not devotees that are coming. But if you look at it from the business standpoint, it makes sense that they've opened now for more pilgrims to come in, because when they come in, they go to the stores and they buy so many devotional paraphernalia, DVDs, DVD paraphernalia, small DVDs, and so many other things they could buy anywhere from 8 cents. And that makes some profit because the project is not finished. So when it makes a profit from that, then they can just put the money into more of the other parts that they need to complete for the project. So for me, from a business standpoint, it makes a whole lot of sense that they've opened up now and allowing people to come in, even though the actual inauguration would be a couple of years from now. But it's already quite vibrant. I could just talk so much about some of my realizations, but I'm looking at the time now. So, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Dhir Krishna Prabhu is saying the additional comments. He's saying Jai Jai Navdeep Mayapur Dham is non-different from Golok Vrindavan.
Absolutely.
Thank you for sharing your experience in the Dham.
Hare Krishna.
Yeah.
Guru's mercy.
Yes, Prabhuji, when you were explaining, you don't have to wake up early morning, someone, blows the horn or automatically you wakes up by
Yeah.
the crowd. Similarly, I was
Yeah.
remembering, Mahaprabhu's moment is not like you have to go and study and work hard, then you'll pass. You just go in the dham and you will be passed in the exam. Literally, you go there, you will wake up every morning for Mangalarti. You don't have to make efforts.
No, it's wonderful. It's wonderful the way things are set up. Yeah, you just go on because people get up and the vibrations just start out there at 4 o'clock in the morning. So
Wonderful.
you're already awake by then, especially those of us that are light sleepers who can't sleep through that. So BJDBs, we have to be up and somehow start our spiritual day too. Hare Krishna. Yeah.
Hare Krishna. I think it's 15 after 9. It's a good time to, I think, conclude today's session. Would like to thank you, Prabhuji, and all the devotees coming and attending the class. And we'll meet tomorrow. Tomorrow is Srila Prabhupada's class at the same time, 8 a.m. So meantime, Vancha Kalpatarubhesha Vishnavanda ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. We'll see you soon. Hare
Thank you.
Krishna.